Hey guys, welcome to Blue Collar Hockey Talk. This is episode 7. My name's Scott Feeney. This is Wes Atkinson's with me as well. Guys, thanks for tuning in. This is a new show. We're talking Leafs, we're talking North Division, we're talking hockey. We haven't had any games, but you'll see there's lots to talk about. And on this show, we'll always have something. So if you want to hear, post a comment, send a message, like the video, subscribe on YouTube, whatever. We want this show to be not just something we want to hear. We want you guys to listen. So let's hear what you want us to talk about. Well, Wes, buddy, what are you up to?
Well, I'm watching a dog that's barking a lot right now. That's my bad. But yeah, I've been just tracking as much hockey as I can this week. It's been something to see the other teams kind of catch up to the number of games that the Leafs have played. Like those Canadiens are on a roll, eh? It's been something to watch and hear about. And my friends that are Canadiens fans, they're getting annoying pretty fast.
They are, but I mean, I usually say like I don't mind watching Montreal do bad, but at the very same time, I'm not used to Montreal doing well with the Leafs doing well at the same time. This could be a really fun season, man. Like if the NHL ever wanted to capitalize on viewership, on being able to sell the product, having Montreal and Toronto up at the top of this division, it's like the dream come true for them.
Absolutely, man. I think things are working out for the NHL. But another hockey league, things aren't doing too well. The NWHL, it's suspended its season because of a COVID outbreak, man. The entire season was played in a restricted access zone at Lake Placid, so kind of like a loose bubble. And it was a rough season. They just had to completely stop it. It was supposed to end tomorrow night with the final. And the Toronto Six were actually doing fairly well. It's too bad they had to stop, but hopefully they can get things going, and get back on the ice and finish their season.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. And I mean, this is maybe a chance for me to take a shout out to Graham Clark. Graham sent out a message to us saying he wanted us to talk about the NWHL. And man, in all honesty, I wanted to, and I still want to, and I hope that we get a chance to. So right now, I'm just going to say I hope that the NWHL can find a way to be able to get back on the ice at some point, and because that'll be fun to talk about when we can.
Absolutely, man. And you know what? I love good hockey, so I'll take it anytime I can get it. And COVID in the NHL, man, it has been something this season. Already 22 games have been postponed, and approximately 90 players have appeared on the NHL's COVID protocol list during the first 3 weeks. And this week alone, the Devils, the Sabres, and the Minnesota Wild have all had to push games. And actually, the Buffalo Sabres head coach Ralph Krueger tested positive today. Man, it's we're lucky, that none of the Leaf games have been pushed back.
You want to know what we're watching? We're watching an honest, like, USA with they're following the same protocols. And I'm sorry to say anything like this and to try to draw comparatives, but I'm sorry. You've got a ton of teams all testing positive and having to postpone games, and it's all coming south of the border. And I hope that the Canadian teams can stay well, but whatever, like, call it a coincidence, call it what you will. I hope that it keeps going in a good way, but I wonder if at some point we're going to have to start watching win percentage, not so much points.
Yeah, I think you know what, that is definitely something that we could see in the future, and we can't play back-to-backs like in doubleheaders like baseball did to make up games, right? And we can't shorten games to 2-period games. Like that just wouldn't be the same. Like it's just something that's how the COVID is going on. And you know what? I don't want to speak too much about how the North Division's been okay so far, because it doesn't take much for that to turn around. Someone's family member could go out and infect them, and it really, really doesn't take much for this thing to spread around.
No, I think we're watching that. So I mean, hats off to the teams that are keeping it tight, and I mean, even the teams that have had it where it's spread through. Oftentimes, like you say, it could be just completely innocent, And I mean, I hear that there's some teams that aren't so happy with some other teams, for maybe not reporting things as quick as they could have. Or I'm not getting into that. I guess that's not that kind of show.
It's all hearsay right now, man. But as soon as it's confirmed, I'll be the first one to talk about it. How about we actually move on to some hockey news for once?
All right. Well, I mean, in all fairness, like let's look at what happened in New York with the Rangers. I mean, the New York Rangers waived Tony DeAngelo. DeAngelo's been a healthy scratch for 2 games this season. he reported he was getting into altercations with players on his team. Like he had an altercation with Alexander Gorgiev. I mean, following that 5-4 overtime loss to the Penguins. And last season, he finished tied for fourth in both goals, 15, and he had 53 points. And that's as a defenseman. So, I mean, in all fairness, at 25 years old, he's got a 2-year contract. It's under $5 million a year as a cap hit. It sounds pretty appealing on paper, but I mean, I'd be a hell of a hypocrite if I were to sit here and say that I think that he'd be good on let's say a Leaf squad, because I keep preaching character, preaching chemistry, and I don't see this guy having that. And I wonder how long he's going to sit and wait for a trade, and I wonder what it'll look like. It'd be pretty interesting to see the value on this guy, Wes?
Yeah, for sure. Like, he is a good hockey player, right? Like, clearly he's really good at what he does, and it's just too bad that this stuff is going on, because the Rangers are an up-and-coming team. They're not doing too well right now, but they're going to turn around soon. And Broadway is Broadway, man. Playing at Madison Square Garden, like, don't screw that up. Like, just be a good guy, and like, you clearly know how to play hockey. And I don't want to say, like, just shut up and play hockey, because it's, we're human beings and we have other things to do, but don't throw away your career, I guess, is what I want to say.
Wes, I want to point out, this guy had his contract signed in October.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a long time ago. It's 3 months ago he signed a 2-year deal, and this has all fallen apart since then.
See, I think if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to go to a team that's filled with vets that'll be like, we're not dealing with any of this shenanigans, you'll be out. I think Washington would be good to pick him up.
Yeah, I guess so. The COVID caps, eh? Yeah, they
Yep.
could use a little bit of character. I don't know, man. You never know where he'll go. First team that went into my head was it would have been good to see him going to San Jose or something like that. But what the hell are they going to be making a move like that for?
Well, we do have some Leafs news this week. Alexander Kerfoot missed Tuesday's practice due to an undisclosed injury, but he's back on the ice against the Canucks, and that's going to be going on while we're recording this. And then Joe Thornton and Nick Robertson skated this week. It's good to see and good to hear about that, but nothing's changing about when they're going to come back, which is too bad.
Yeah, it's nice to see the guys getting back on the ice. So, I mean, that's step one. I mean, we were all here in up to 4 weeks, so we're not quite there. So on the ice, that's a good start. It's pretty interesting to see how the lineup got moved up and down, and all that buzz that got created just by having one practice with Simmons on the second line. And I mean, Kerfoot gets put back in the lineup, and it all gets shuffled around again, right? I think it's great that he's back in the lineup. It gives some solid work ethic on that third line, because I like the energy he brings to the ice.
Yeah, he's a good player, man. It's tough last year for him, and it's going to be tough while he's in Toronto, because who is he going to be compared to? Kadri. This whole time he's a Maple Leaf, it'll be the Kerfoot for Kadri trade. No matter that it was for actually Tyson Barrie and Kerfoot, and it's just gonna be something that's gonna be hanging over his head, and I'm glad he's doing well. He took some pretty bad penalties the other day, but it happens.
I mean, when you play that kind of game, it's going to happen once in a while, right? I mean, he's got to keep himself in line. He almost seems to want to try to play a game that's kind of like Kadri, but he's not Kadri, right? He's quick. He's a good player. So, it's good that he's back in the lineup. I'd rather him than seeing Nick Petan put on the ice,
Who is also on the ice tonight, Nick Petan. I got a soft spot for Nick Petan. I don't know why, but I would rather see Kerfoot than Petan all the time. I'd rather see Robertson or Thornton than Petan. That's for sure, though.
Oh, big time. I mean, those guys are difference makers on the ice. I mean, Robertson's got that shot, man. And I'm looking forward to when he's back on the ice. I want to see the twine bulge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, moving on here, if you don't mind, there, Wes.
Sure.
I want to share with us West Coast Tim's thoughts. So, West Coast Tim says, "What's everyone's thoughts through 10 games?" I like the defensive game that's happening. The forwards are scoring goals at a good pace. Spezza with 8 points in 11 games. I don't feel they're fully executing, though. I think there is more to give at all three positions. We're in a weak division. I'd like to see the team start to come together a little more and take over games. Wes, I don't know, man. Like that's interesting. And when I hear it's in a weak division, like like normally with Tim, like I'm usually spot on with it, but like I'm gonna go a little bit against that a little bit. I think we've got a pretty unreal division, but it's just built different than the others. Like this is a division that's built to score goals. I saw a stat earlier in the week that has our division averaging 8 goals a game, and the rest of the league is averaging 5 goals a game. That's quite the margin difference, and you can tell when you're looking at the scores. I don't think that we're in a weak division. I think it's pretty unreal to see these games. They're entertaining, they're fun, um, and it's what we have every game. We don't have to worry about the other style unless we make it to the third round of the playoffs, and then maybe they have to worry about our style. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows what happens then? But that's interesting thoughts on Tim. What do you think, Wes?
I definitely don't agree with him when he said it's a weak division. I just think the Leafs are a good team, and we're not used to them being this much better than other teams, right? When it comes to it, and it hopefully it keeps going, man. Like they're playing the Canucks tonight, like I mentioned, and the Canucks are actually the last team in the division for the Leafs to play, and they are clearly better than them. Like other than the way Montreal is playing right now, I don't see another team that could be even better than or on par with the Leafs. But I just think the division is strong and the Leafs are good. And we're just not used to that. We're not used to thinking the Leafs are going to finish 1-2 in the division or in the Eastern Conference. Like, how long has it been since the Leafs have been a dominant team?
Pat Quinn, we talked about him the other day. It's been a while, man. It's been well over a decade since we've really sat here and saw a team put up this kind of of power within their division. Normally, I'm all for the demise of the Montreal Canadiens, and when they're doing well, I almost feel like it's dirty and I need a shower, But I've also never really, in my adult life, been able to watch Montreal have a good team while Toronto also does. And I think that the NHL is I'm actually very thankful that the NHL is going to get this. And as a fan, I think that it's going to be marketable. You've got the dream of Montreal and Toronto trying to fight it out for a division that are going to play each other several times. We've played each other only once this year. There's another 9 to go. Man, like it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
It definitely will be, man. And I'm looking forward to those games too. And when it comes to Montreal, like I've been talking to some of my friends that are Montreal Canadiens fans, and they're happy they're doing really well. But my one friend was saying the thing is with the Canadiens is like everything is working for them. They have puck luck. Everything seems to be going in. It's like they're running on all cylinders. And with the Leafs, it seems to be like they can be better. They can be better. And with Montreal, they're if it's a peak, there's got to be a valley. They can't
I get.
they can't stay on
I
this like level the whole season. There's no way.
I get what you're saying. Now, before I get into a little stat here, if you don't mind me doing so, one thing that I'm going to expand the thought a little bit about, Toronto and Montreal doing well at the same time is like normally when I would walk into a coffee shop and Montreal would be doing well and Toronto would be missing the playoffs. They'd making comments and I'd go, ha ha ha, you're funny, and I'd still wear my Leaf jersey, but I'd be like wearing it with pride. Well, now I could actually wear it with pride and I could walk in, head held high, have a conversation about the Toronto Maple Leafs with a Montreal Canadiens fan, and we can have good banter. But Wes, I want to go into a little something that you said. Can Montreal can they hold on to this kind of sustain this kind of um, winning percentage on the season? Um, I'll throw out what they did last year, and I think that it's relevant here. Okay, because you play a different style within our own division here, and it's because it's a high scoring style. It's not a rough, tough style, and I think the Toronto's benefiting from it too. But I'll go over Montreal's numbers last year, outside of the division or outside of Canadian teams. So playing against American teams last season, they were 21 wins and 34 losses. It's a 381 win percentage. But against Canadian teams, in the 14 games that they played, they were 9-5. It's a 642 win percentage. It's the same team, but they actually made upgrades over the off season. And if you look at our goal scoring leaders on our team, like we're doing well. Tim said it. We've got some good goal scoring across our forwards, but they've brought in 2 forwards that weren't on that team that went 9-3-2 against the other Canadian teams, and they've got Tafilo and Anderson that have put up, last time I checked, 16 goals. between the two of them. That's going to get you maybe where they are right now. I don't know, man. I think they're going to have a sweet record throughout the year, and I hope that we get to kick their ass whenever we play them.
Absolutely, I hope so too. But man, they're not going to keep up a 700 win percentage. Like they just won't be able to do it. Like they're going to have their down nights, and like McDavid will go video game mode and Draisaitl, and they'll just get crushed. And like Calgary will have their number once in a blue moon. I bet Ottawa will beat them once at least this season too. I don't think there's going to be a sweep at all in any division from any team. If that happens, oof, like that is horrible, man. But that's my take on it. And what? Speaking of takes, let's just move on to this because we've been talking about Montreal and talking about the Canadian division. And this week, with no Leaf games on, I've been dying to watch other divisional games, but I can't. They're blacked out. How infuriating is it? Like I have cable, and I still can't watch out of market games. But you know what? I could have watched the Boston Washington game because that matters to me.
Yeah, man, this has got a lot of people riled. That's all I see when I go through the scrolling on forums. It was a ton of people putting up there, like, what are they thinking? No fans in the stadium. You think that TSN and Sportsnet could get it together. Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not bashing them. I don't know how the big business works, man. But I think that it's got a lot to do with the fact that there's teams that pay to have their games as a regional game. And TSN and Sportsnet make a lot of money on that. And I don't think that they were able probably to swing a deal to get out of that, as crappy as that sounds. And I wish that I could watch the games too. I don't agree with big business. I don't like how big business rolls, but I think this is a big business garbage decision, and it sucked for the fan. And it reminds me as a Jays fan, real quick on it, is I can never watch the beginning of a Jays season ever, 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 because they're always on Sportsnet. And I can't get Sportsnet 1 unless I spend an extra $35 a month, and I'm not going to do it because it's only to watch the first 20 games. But I can't watch the first 20 games because it's NHL playoffs, and it's big business, and it's happening on those games too, man. And it sucks because I have no interest in watching Boston, Washington, other than some highlights of it.
Oh, absolutely, right. Like highlights are where it's at. Like I do feel your pain when it comes to the Jays and things, but man, the NHL could have offered their center ice package at a reduced rate. Hell, they could have done whatever the price is for NHL center ice. They could have halved it and been, what division do you want to follow? And I'd probably do that because usually the NHL center ice package is like $140 for the season, something like that. So like $70 for the rest of for this season and just the division. I'd probably pony that up. Like I'm not going to any games. Hell, a ticket to a Leaf game is a lot more than $70, so I could justify it. But like the fact that they didn't come up with anything other than either a pay-as-you-go per month, which is I think $30 a month, or the NHL Center Ice package, if you already have cable, right? It's just too much to ask for people in this pandemic, right? But what do I know? I guess I'm not in big business, so.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I'm with you. I feel your pain though. I think that they're missing the boat, and they're missing chance on gaining viewership because there's I think a lot of people that want to watch a lot of hockey games and Canadian hockey matchups. They're fun to watch. I'll watch an Edmonton Calgary game any night of the week. I think that's always fun. I think they're missing the boat.
Absolutely. You got any hot takes for us today?
Kind of, man. Like I heard some people starting to talk about, like Art Ross, just because you watch like Connor McDavid and Draisaitl taking off like absolute madman. But the awards irk me this year. I don't want to call asterisks on many things, but I also don't really care a ton about awards, and probably because I'm a Leaf fan and I don't see many. But in all fairness, if you see how these divisions are, like I say, you've got tons of goals coming out of our division, the North Division. You're not going to get a Vezina winner out of it. You're not going to get many Norris Trophy, Norris nods on it, unless you have a high-scoring defenseman. I think that it's going to be really, really hard to have awards be able to actually be reflective of who's deserving of them. I mean, maybe the MVP award, you can maybe, if something's glaring, ask me maybe, like you said, halfway through the season, we'll do an awards show, bud. I don't know if my stance will change. But going into the season, I look at it and I think to myself, how do you award somebody a point like the Rocket Richard Trophy winner when you're not playing the same competition? You're not. It's 4 different leagues. That's how it's set up this year. So I mean, I get hot takes when we talk about participation ribbons. Sure, let's have some participation ribbons, but let's still give it an MVP. But everybody's playing in the same damn league, so this one's going to be weird for me. I don't know how it's gonna pull off. Mid-season, we'll look at it, man.
I think the thing is, man, like this year is such a one-off. Like you kind of gotta remember that what's happening this year hopefully never happens again, right? I think there's gonna be a giant asterisk beside every single record, right? Like everyone who scores goals and whatever, it's gonna be you were on the pace too, and in a regular season this could have been, or there's always gonna be some kind of justification. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, man, if Connor McDavid scores 60 goals this season, he deserves the Rocket Richard Award, right? Like you can only play against your opponent that you're given, so this year is just a one-off, and you kind of got to roll with it.
No. I'm going to maybe make a little bit of an analogy on this. It's almost like saying, let's go out and have a PGA tournament, a golf tournament, but I'm going to have different sets of golfers playing on different golf courses that are of different difficulty levels. They're all par 72, but they are all different difficulty levels. Every golf course is. And yet we're going to take the scores, just period. It's whoever is low gross. There is no handicap about how the golf course is run. That wouldn't be fair. So I just feel like it's the same kind of a measure right now. But like you say, if there's a runaway candidate, there's a runaway candidate. There's no argument. That's why I say middle of the season right now, the way that Draisaitl and McDavid are going, I'm not going to argue about anything about them. Like if you don't hand awards out after 10 games, but holy crap, what a hell of a start to those guys.
Scott, do you know what today is? February 4th. Do you know what today is?
Today's February 4th. No, shout out to Mama B. That would be her birthday. But no, other than that, no.
We are 1 year away from the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. That's why the Olympic jersey is right there. So we can go back and get another gold medal in hockey. How do you feel about that, man?
I love your optimism, man. I love it. Now, there's going to be a very interesting conversation. I think it's going to be coming up
about who makes the team. Sure. Yeah.
Well, and who's going to stand behind the bench?
Yep. I was going to say, like, so far the coach hasn't been decided, but the GM is Doug Armstrong from the St. Louis Blues. He has named his associate GM Ken Holland from Detroit, and then assistant general managers Ron Francis, Don Sweeney, and Roberto Luongo. What do you think of Roberto Luongo being named as an assistant general manager to Team Canada?
The guy's got the most unbelievable personality.
Yep.
He seems to have a love and passion for the game of hockey. He seemed to be a student of the game. I love seeing the guy transition into management in hockey. Yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's great. Like he went to 3 Olympics and he had 3 completely different experiences, right? Like he went to the Olympics in Torino and he was Broder's backup. Like clearly that's what you're doing. I think he got like 1 or 2 games. The team didn't perform well in that tournament anyway. And then in Vancouver in 2010, it's in his building because he was a Canuck at the time, and he took the net away from Brodeur. Like imagine the pressure on you there, right? Like that's hard to deal with. And then the 3rd time in Sochi, he had to give the net up to a young guy named Price.
Yeah, man, that's pretty unreal. Like it is pretty unreal. Like he has played it on all levels, like you say, on the grand stage. He's decorated. He's deserving. He was the captain of his hockey team in Vancouver. I think that's really cool to see a goaltender be the captain. I mean, it didn't make sense because he gets to talk to the ref anyway. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. I'm pretty intrigued to see what they do about the head coach of Team Canada because, Wes, I know how it fell out in Toronto with Mike Babcock, but it didn't fall out for Team Canada for Mike Babcock, did it? Like, I know that there was bad press about him. I know there was bad words, but the man has serious credibility when it comes to coaching at the Olympics, for Team Canada, for winning the gold medal, for knowing what it takes to do it. And I'm not saying I'm a massive Babcock fan. I'm just saying don't you have him be your coach?
No, I don't think so. I think you know who would be a good coach in my opinion? Barry Trotz.
I'd love to have Barry Trotz as the coach. Sure. I'm okay with that. I get that. But
I
so
think
you think that
Babcock's
Babcock has lost the team? Like, you think that he deserves not to coach the team?
I think it's well, he's not coaching right now. I think you know what, it's time to move on from him. You know who else I think would be good? Joel Quenneville. You know he's got more cups than Babcock, or like he might have missed his opportunity to be the coach because they didn't go to the last Olympics, which is too bad for him, and that's not his fault. But like he's coaching in Florida, which is another team that's actually doing really well this year, but we just don't hear about it because we don't care about hockey in the southern U.S. right now. But you know, there's Trotz out there, like Quenneville. Like there's a lot of Canadian coaches that I think could do the job.
Yeah, okay. You're giving great candidates, and I mean, yes, any one of those guys are current legends of the bench bosses. So yeah, I'd love to have any one of them. I do find it very intriguing to think about how they're going to tiptoe around the announcement of that, though.
Oh yeah, like what usually what is it? The announcement for the coach is made in the summer, and then they have like some kind of summer camp, and they invite all the guys they can. And generally, I think they go over like the rules of the Olympics because if you want to be an Olympian, like you can't have certain substances in your body. Like remember Jose Theodore, he couldn't go to the Olympics the one year because he had Rogaine in his system, and it's a steroid, so you couldn't compete at the Olympics, something like that. But it's crazy the stuff that you have to do just to be able to go to the Olympics.
Oh, it's 100% true on that. Now, I do want to say this was the hot take that I was thinking of a few minutes ago there, and it kind of goes along with having the gathering of absolute stud players, and that's all-star games. And I hear the NBA has just announced that they're going to have an all-star game, and I don't know if the NHL has made a decision on this yet. I don't know if they're what they're talking about with it, but Wes, I don't understand. So if let's say the NHL, let's say they did have an all-star game, you know, like the COVID caps, they got in trouble for being in the same dressing room, or sorry, in the same hotel room, because that broke protocol. But like now you've got leagues that are going to amalgamate teams, all of them. Like I just don't understand. It's just unnecessary. This year it's just unnecessary. You don't want to take any risks. Why would you take any risks? Play your season. Like get your season done. That's the goal, not the all-star game. You're going to be able to sell your game very well. You've got a product that's going to sell itself very uniquely this year. You need no all-star game to do it. It doesn't sell jack anyway, unless it's it's geared to kids to introduce them to the game. Sure, but you're not doing that this year in regards to that fanship experience, unless you can do it across the screen, which you should be able to do it on your regular season games because they're going to be that amazing. No all-star games.
Yep, I definitely agree. Like I think all unnecessary risks should be removed when it comes to COVID. So I can't say that's too much of a hot take because I 100% agree. So does that make it cold? I don't know, but
I think it just takes. It's like that should be. That's just me. It doesn't make any sense to do anything else.
it doesn't make any sense. I could see maybe the justification for it is it gives the rest of the players a break or something away from the games because they're trying to cram in so many games. But at the same time, then just put the league on pause for like a week. Like who cares? Like just do that. Don't bring players together from other places and let them, you know, mingle and, you know, worst case scenario cross contaminate or whatever the hell's going on. Because especially in the states all have different laws. Like what you can do in Florida, you can't necessarily do in California or New York or Milwaukee or wherever you're going from. So I think that's just a horrible idea. So I can't agree with you more. Speaking of other leagues, you know what's going on this Sunday?
Yes, I do, buddy. Somebody's going for number 7.
Yeah, man. Can you believe that Tom Brady's going for his 7th Super Bowl?
I can't. I mean, I can't. And I mean, I don't sit here and say that I'm a Brady fan, I'm a Patriot fan. I'm not a fan of a lot in regards to the NFL. I don't have something that I cling on to, but I do love to watch greatness happen. And if anybody's going to argue against the fact that greatness is taking place, I really won't. I don't understand the argument right now. I'd love to sit down and have that chat and see where you're coming from. But I'll tell you, it's unbelievable to see this guy go into the other division, conference, whatever the hell he did, and make it in with a team that he hasn't played for. I don't know, man. Like it's awesome. And to see him go up against Mahomes, if who do you take on that bet? I mean, like Mahomes, Brady. Like normally it's like you don't bet against Brady, but if you're gonna bet against Brady, aren't you gonna take Mahomes?
Well, man, let's speaking of betting, let's put some money where our mouth is. I got 4 prop bets here. So I got which how will the first points be scored? Touchdown, field goal, or safety? Total points 54.5. Do you think a quarterback will be the MVP or anyone else? And the last one I have, who do you think is going to win? So since I came up with the props, why don't you take anyone you want first?
All right. Well, I want to take. I just want to start off with saying that it's going to be a quarterback that will win the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl MVP, yeah?
Yes, sir. I would take them versus the field, sir.
Okay. Then I think I'm going to go with, I think a touchdown is going to be the first way the points are scored. So what do you think it's going to be?
I have to. I like. Am I allowed to agree? I don't want to just disagree to disagree. I'm not that kind of guy. So it's
Oh,
going to be a
man.
touchdown too, man. Like it's Brady and Mahomes.
Well, I took that one, so you got to take something else.
Okay. So the total points 54 and a half. It's Brady versus Mahomes. It's going over.
It's going over. All right. And then for the winner, ooh, man, you left me that. I can't get bet against Brady. I think Tampa Bay is going to win this game. And if
I
Tampa
think
Bay
that
wins that game, and they he should just retire and just walk away with his 7th Super Bowl ring.
Oh man, like it would put every single question in. It would make arguments sound foolish if you're going to tell me that anybody else is the greatest quarterback. I'm sorry, and I know that there's been some amazing quarterbacks, and a great argument probably could be made. But come on, man, I'm with you. Like you'd walk away accomplishing an unbelievable feat, unbelievable with nothing else to prove, nothing at all. I'm with you, man. Tampa Bay is going to win the Super Bowl, and I'm going to go as far. I know I said it's going to go over, but can I even say that it's going to be a 31-28, very close game? That's
Wow.
how it's going to go. Yeah, man. Put it on there.
That's all right, man. Well, we will see, man. I can't wait for Sunday, and we have another show to record before the Super Bowl, and then we'll get right into it. But I wanted to make sure we got those bets out there just in time for everyone to listen to our opinions, and don't take my opinion to the bank about football because it is the worst game to bet money on, man. You have no idea what's really going to happen.
I nailed the score perfect 3 years ago. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry, man. So I'll take it. I'm not. No, don't take it to the bank. I don't want to be responsible for anything on that. I'm totally kidding. We just do this for fun. I have made it very clear. I don't follow the NFL that close, but I did get it right 3 years ago.
That's pretty
Anyways,
awesome. How about we move on to this day in hockey history, man? So in 2003, Jaromir Jagr scored his 500th NHL goal by completing a natural hat trick when he scored just over 7 minutes in the second period versus the Washington Capitals. Versus Tampa Bay when he was with Washington. Jagr was playing his 928th NHL game and became the 33rd player to score 500 goals. It was Jagr's 11th natural hat trick, and he reached 30 goals in a season for the 12th time in 13 seasons. Even crazier, exactly 13 years later in 2016, Jagr became the 6th NHL player with 1,100 assists. He reached a milestone by setting up a first period goal by Brandon Peary in the Florida Panthers' 6-3 win against the Detroit Red Wings. Man, Jagr was one of the best players ever.
he was, and I mean, when you look at the stretch of Art Ross winners from 1981 to 2001, there's 3 names on the trophy. 3, man, in a 20-year span. Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr. And I don't think that his name, I mean, he's not with the great guys, but he's friggin' great. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a solid, like, he was a beaut. I hated playing against him in the playoffs when he was on Pittsburgh and watching him go with that puck up the sideboards. And you just knew that that's not who should have the puck. Get it off, because he was so lethal, man.
Oh, yeah, man. And, like, he even won a gold medal at the Olympics back in 98 in Nagano when Dominic Hasek stood on his head. Like, he was amazing to watch. Even when he was older in his last few years in the NHL, he still had the hands. Didn't have the speed, but he could set up some pretty amazing goals and pretty amazing plays.
He's a rock star. Like, look, when he went back to Czech Republic, they had to actually move their games from the stadium that they played at to a bigger stadium because the demand for tickets went through the roof. You know what I mean? He owns that team, so he was able to do what he wanted. He knew that they needed more tickets,
And
but he's a beaut.
one of the things
Absolute
I
beaut.
missed about him leaving too was, man, remember the traveling Jaggers that would go around?
I was just picturing that. That's so funny. You just brought that up.
All the guys wearing the different jerseys, and they all had the mullets and stuff. It was awesome, and like he seemed to be a pretty good guy and stuff too in the room. Like he was probably a bit arrogant when he was younger, and for a good reason. He was probably one of the top 5 hockey players in the world for a long time. But man, he was a beautician near the end of it.
You got to stay on this traveling Jaegers thing because I thought you were going to tell me about the story. It was on Hockey Night in Canada, and it was when he just got to Calgary, and they had the traveling Jaegers, and I'm sure you can find the video if you look it up on YouTube. And they were interviewing the traveling Jaegers, saying, "How do you feel about having Jaeger here?" And they were all there, all different, like they've got all different jerseys, all different hair, of all different points of his career. And then Jaeger came up like in live time on the TV, not scripted, and just started jumping up and around with them. Hey! And the whole thing went off chart, man. It was cool. Like Jaeger was legendary.
That's awesome, man. Stories like that are what makes sports great, man. Things like it just makes good TV bits, and like those guys will never forget what happened, and like it was absolutely awesome.
Awesome. If maybe we'll actually take a look around. I'll try to find that pic or that video, and I'll try to post it in the comments underneath our video tonight, episode 7. All right, guys.
Sounds good, man. And then the last thing we wanted to do tonight is let's preview the upcoming game against the Canucks. Like I said, right now they're playing the Canucks in their first game. This will be on Saturday. Will be the second of 3 in a row against them. Do you think the Leafs will have their way with them, or what?
You know what? I think that on Saturday night, the Leafs and the Canucks, after playing each other on Thursday, I think that they'll have felt each other out a bit, and I think that Toronto will be the superior team out of the two, man. Like, I think that Saturday's game, we'll see Anderson in net both games here, the Thursday and the Saturday, and I think that we should come out with points and not be happy with anything other than points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Leafs need to take advantage of teams that are quote-unquote out of the playoff race, and right now I think it'll be Ottawa and Vancouver that are at the back of the division, and those are points you need to pick up, and hopefully they can at least win 2 out of 3 against the Canucks over the next few days, man. But anything else you want to talk about tonight before we get going?
No, man, I think that I'm just hoping that the Leafs have some solid games coming up. I hope Anderson keeps playing hot. I think I'd like to see Brody step it up a little bit. I want to notice him a little bit more on the ice. I don't want to trash him. I don't want to say anything. I think that he's doing all right, but I want to notice him a bit more in very good ways, man.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, well, that's it for me, and I think that's it for us. If you like what you see and what you hear, like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at BlueCollarHT, or email us at bluecollarhockeytalk@gmail.com. All right, well, have a good night, everyone.